Hey, what's up, Eggman? Countdown. I know, right? You never get to hear for it. You only get to hear like the non-climatic part. What's up, Sabin? Alright, I guess we can get started. Though, before we do, I do want to point out that we're going to watch a very short clip of the run that died immediately before this and how mad I was going into this run, because it's actually very funny. Okay? So we're gonna watch the run that died right before this. So I just got the magic key, everybody's dead. I'm like, alright, it's unlikely, but maybe we can make it through. No, no, Mike. This is pure RTA video. Anyways, yeah, so I get through those two floors. It's looking pretty good. You basically have a 50-50 shot of making it from the pyramid all the way down. So I'm like, alright, I'm in there. I made it, right? I made it. We're good. No, we're not good. 2 steps, and my run died. So that's the preface. Going into this next run, I was pissed. I was like, you have got to. I sat there with my head in my hands, just being like, what am I doing, dude? But sure enough, it took the next 30 seconds to think about it, I guess. I think it's like 10 seconds from now. I want to get the timer right, so. Yeah, right here. Okay. A little late, but whatever. Yo, CT meet to you. So yeah, this was my second attempt of the day, and I had not played since Limit Break. I did some, like spreadsheet practice, I guess. I sort of just like reviewed over some of the more dangerous encounters in the Dark World, just to make sure I could remember what to do. I know what to do, but just sort of like tease my brain to make sure I was on top of it. Oh, thank you, Beatmon. This will be all in Japanese, but this is my... I guess I didn't really formally introduce this to the stream, but yes, this is my PB as of 2 days ago. of which I've been trying very hard to break 3 hours in this game, so this is the first time I did that. I've been doing a lot of pretty much exclusively offline attempts. A few streams here and there, but mostly offline. We'll see throughout this run that it's generally good quality. There's I made like a few minor mistakes, but nothing major. And there's one segment in particular that's really subpar, but everything else is pretty good. Subpar not because of me, because of Dragon Quest III. I guess audio is a little off, but you won't notice it in battles, but I guess outside of battle a little bit. Alright, if I remember, stats went like pretty average. I think I had to re-roll Warrior a few times, but generally, if you're trying to go for under, there's like a whole bunch of benchmarks as you go along. And really, if you get all your characters created under like 430 to 440-ish, you're okay. So this is just the dealer. Doesn't matter where the stats are, even though she got god stats. Alright, mage. Yeah, tough guy. So I got tough guy, which is exactly what I want. The best possible mage. I think this was gourmet, which is the worst, but I change thief's personality anyways. Yeah. So that's fine. And then we do warrior. So I had to redo that one. Had to redo that one. I think it's one or two more. Oh yeah, I redid that one because I started with 9, which is too low to start with. There it is, okay. 19 is the bare minimum, but the personality is really what matters. So yeah, we're off. It's pretty average, I'd say. It's not common to get first try every character, but like 3 or 4 rerolls is pretty average, so nothing wrong here. Switch equipment. And we're off. So yeah, Countdown answered it pretty much correctly, but yeah, a large part of it has to do with having 2 warriors in the endgame, so you have a lot of HP to tank hits. You definitely need the buy kill spell on somebody. You need the sap spell on somebody. This battle is really subpar. It's not even worth fighting. But no encounter on the way there is fine. Though, it just means I'm going to have to fight more battles in the tower. You usually fight between 2 or 3, depending on how many enemies there are, but you need your warrior, thief, and mage to get to level 2. Fighter's HP growth is not very good. It's not terrible, it's just not nearly as good as warriors, especially around the range from level 15 to 25. What's up, Chelney? Evil Ash? Cass? Yeah, I know. Okay, so no encounter there means they're gonna have to fight at least, well, definitely whatever shows up in this stretch. Maybe the second one. this is getting more and more delayed. Let me look into this. One sec, I'm just gonna pause the video. Maybe it needs to catch up in my hard drive or something. Anyways, okay. I'll look into this in a minute. Yeah, so that's like a fine fight. 4 Anteaters is among the best EXP you can get. And it's a little dangerous, but whatever. It doesn't matter. I got the 2 fights that I needed, and they're level 2, which gets the huge boost. HP, everybody needs to get healed after hitting level 2. Sorry guys, this is really bothering me. I'm gonna switch to the YouTube video. 1 second. Just give me a minute here. Yeah, I don't know. Something about my hard drive is loading really weirdly, but I checked the YouTube video and it's fine. So let me just play that instead. Ah, this is so dumb. Sorry guys, 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. We're back. I guess YouTube can handle playing back a video better than my hard drive can. That was ridiculous. That was like 6 seconds of desync or something. Alright, whatever. We're back. I'm gonna beef up game audio a bit. Okay, anyways, yeah, we're 8:30. Getting the Thief's Key is like very acceptable. Those fights were fairly fast. Except for that first slime fight, that was ridiculous. So yeah, honestly, with all of these attempts, nothing really matters until you get all the way through to the pyramid, so... Alright, so we're off. This stretch can definitely be nasty. There's a lot of small things that can happen on the way to Romley that it's just like, it's not worth the time loss and you just reset. Any first try runs here are really, really nice. I mean, that's generally true for the first 20 minutes. So I got 2 back-to-back, which saves Probably in the realm of like 20 seconds on average. I don't think I ran from this one. It's also random how many times the enemies attack when you run away, which just can add up over time. Can also get more dangerous, because they do a fair amount of damage. You have to be very careful when you menu, especially with Turbo in the early game, because you swap between using the Chimera Wings and the herbs. And if you just Turbo through Chimera Wing, you end up warping, and that's pretty much the end of your run. So, it's like... I mean, I'll talk about this a lot, but because of the standard of like having to put up with menuing in Turbo, because everybody else does it, you're held to the same standard, and you need to use it in every opportunity that you can. So it's like you need to Turbo, but you need to Turbo just long enough so that you pick which item you want to use, but not use it, if that makes any sense. Because then you need to switch over to manual and then use it. Because if you just Turbo through that menu, you would use your wing and you would lose minutes. Alright. So this is looking pretty good. It's definitely, if you get to the cave, that's a really early encounter. And that's really kind of scary. But yeah, if you get to the cave under like 11 minutes or so, you're on pretty decent pace to begin with. I'm going to be looking specifically for my menu quality throughout this. I think there's like 2 menu mistakes that come to mind, but for the most part, I don't recall any others. And even them, they cost probably all in like 15 to 20 seconds or so total. The big one was that I warped to a wrong location, which just eats time. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed your question, Beatmon. Yes. And this is something I want to kind of cover at the end of this stream. But the route has been developed probably... I think the first record I've seen of somebody's like Japanese notes and blog spots, because they do like all of their notes on live blogs, it dates back to 2009, which is enormous. There's many players of this game, and it's sort of weird. There's just like somebody might die. Oh yeah. Oh, 2 people died. Great. And the third try fail runaway. Classic 9%er. Anyways, yeah, so many people have contributed to this route, and it's a little strange because, I mean, this game is very open-ended after you get the ship, so there's many different ways to do things. This is really bad. I think at this point in my run, I was like, I'm not opening the menu to heal because I don't want to waste any more time, and if this run ends because of a fight like this, I don't care anymore. But I somehow got away and those 2 lived. I was mad because of that mage fight where the two allies died. The thing is, like, this time is still pretty decent, but you waste a lot of time, as you'll see, when you revive characters. So, I did not get the backup gear, I believe. Yes, I realized that if I were to get the backup gear, I'd be compromising too much time. So I decided to revive my characters, wing out of here, and just move on. Again, this is all with the mindset that any magic key that you get under 20 minutes is fine. I had just enough money so I didn't have to go to the shop to sell something. So yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit of variance in the first 20 minutes, but like I keep saying, just getting through the magic key is number 1, but there is a certain level of risk you have to accept to be able to get that. So yeah, we wing out of here, Ordinarily, I'd go buy the gear, but because 2 people died, that cost me about 15 to 20 seconds. So we got a fight here fairly early. First try to run is good. This stretch is quite dangerous. I believe here I grind out a fight, yes. Because I got into that first fight somewhat early, I decided to grind out a fight here. And then walk to Ashalam. Even if you fail to run from these, I mean, it's not great, but they don't do a ton of damage, so you're much less likely to have somebody take a hit. When you're doing this segment too, you have to watch your herb count, and there's a certain level of risk you have to accept that you very well may have somebody die, but you also don't want to be completely out of herbs. I think Warrior dies here. No, just kidding. Oh, that was a nice miss, because that could have one-shotted the hero too. So yeah, I'm at 13 herbs, which is pretty good. Cats. There's something about Cat's AI loop that the first turn they all use stop spell. Or sorry, not all, but they have a high propensity to use stop spell, and they can keep casting it, even if well, they won't cast it if everybody stop spelled. But your warrior can't be stop spelled because he's a warrior and has no spells, so they'll just keep casting it. No, it's not free. It's cheap. It's I think it's 8 or 2 gold per alive party member. So in that instance, it was 4. So yeah, I have to sell the hero's sword, which you have to do if you don't have enough money, and then you sell the moth powder. So the way it works is that if you manage to reach Ashalam, the town that I'm in now, and nobody dies, then you just leave immediately and go to the pyramid. But if you do have to enter the town because somebody died, then you decide to get the moth powder so you can sell it and you can get the fur hood for the thief. So I did both of those, revive and get the fur hood, and it also helped because specifically I didn't get the backup gear for the leather armor for the thief, so she really needed a boost anyways. Yeah, thank you, Golden. Okay, so that was a very, very... Wow, that is incredible. That's an extremely far walk. This is a fairly nice fight to get to. The cats cast stop spell. They can critical you. That was really dangerous because 3 out of 4 of my party members fell asleep. But everybody's alive. I think this is 2 fights to the pyramid, which is really good. Alright, hero goes down, which is unfortunate. Again, it just like, it really is suboptimal when you try to run, you fail, but then the enemies also all get an attack. Yo, thank you for the host, Star. So getting an encounter on the first floor of the pyramid sucks a lot. It's fairly unlikely. But luckily, I was able to get away. That was the same scenario though. Only 1 party member was not asleep. Warrior was in critical. It was dangerous, but we got through. It always makes you really uneasy when you see a encounter on the first floor. Alright, so this is the floor that sort of makes or breaks a run if you've made it this far. You have to be quite careful, like right there. You have to be really careful with your movements. Any half step you can save is enormous in this area. So I'm being like really cautious. Alright, so that was a really far walk before getting into 1 encounter. Which is awesome. So at this point I thought I was done. But I managed to get away now. See, only 1 of them attacked on that second turn. Alright, so I've got these 2. You need to switch your backup equipment to your alive party members if your dead ones, or if your other party members are dead. So I bought the fur hood for the thief before, but now, as you saw, the mage only had 8 defense, so now she's got 18 with the fur hood, which will stay on her until Kandar 1, I believe. Alright, so I get the magic key. 1932. It's not fantastic. A lot of characters have been dying, but again, if we've made it this far, it's the start of a run. It's totally fine. Okay, no encounter there. We have a chance of an encounter on this floor. So we're good. We have a very small chance on this floor. It can happen, but... Yeah, what's up, Purple Mario? Alright, so we're good here. Again, this is about a 50-50 shot of no encounter on the way there. Clearly, that didn't work. This fight, these guys can cast Increase on themselves, but they love not to. Wow, that was super close. Oh, I blew. It's a menu mistake. Okay, so we made it. I used an herb, but I didn't get the warrior to max HP because I didn't want a menu anymore. No, half steps do. You just want to be able to save as many half steps as possible and minimize your movement because you can get encounters on every single step or half step or whatever you want to call it. Just tiny movement. So just in that area you want to be like really, really careful because you want to minimize your encounter risk. So yeah, again, like sub 20 magic key is fine. I've had much better. I don't really accept any worse. 21 is probably the point at which you need to say like, alright, if I want to keep going, I'm just going to have to like play extremely risky and just run from everything and sort of take on the first boss underleveled and see how it goes. But 1930 is totally fine. I missed that. That sucks. Okay, so yeah, the game is also routed that you only have 4 wings from the first purchase of the shop, and I used the quote-unquote backup wing so that when I was in Romilly, I winged out of there after I revived my characters. Ordinarily, you just walk out, but I used it to save some time, which you can do. You have 1 backup wing for situations like that. Okay, so yeah, I just want to say this very briefly, but the whole point of my run last Saturday at RPG Limit Break was sort of to cover all of the, just like generally what Dragon Quest III is about, but what I want from this run is just to talk about sort of what it took to get to a sub 3 time. Anyways, I was at the point here where it's technically faster to sell your ruby bracelet for 7,350 gold here. It just saves the amount of menus that you do in the sell shop, but it's highly dangerous to be going from Romilly all the way to Portoga with that much money, because you're going to see I've got like 7,500 gold on me. However, I was willing to accept that risk because if I were to wipe out on the way to Portoga, I wasn't going to continue this run anyways, so I said, screw it, I'll take the time saves, and I'll play a little bit risky. The thing is, like, if you get, like, a high 17 magic key and you wipe out on the way to Romilly, it's a... I'm sorry, on the way to Portoga, it's a big risk. I'm sorry, it's just, like, a big time loss. But you can accept it because it's, like, in the realm of, like, 1.5 to 2 minutes, which is the difference between, like, a 1740 magic key and a 1930. But that's all semantics. I mean, that didn't happen in this run. I'm just saying that it changes a little bit based on whether or not you should sell all of your stuff now and have like 7,000 gold in your pocket or wait to sell it later. So yeah, as you can see, every revival takes I think it's like 7 seconds, but 7 seconds of the jingle, but then to menu it is like another 3. So yeah, my personality, I mean, I always grab the book anyways to make the thief into a daredevil. Or I guess, I forget what it's translated to. I think it's daredevil. daring. I'm not sure. Anyways, she is the gourmet personality now, which is definitely not scalable. But the Daredevil personality is. So we come here. So this is the first, like, real maintenance menu. What you need to do is use the Wisdom Seed on the hero, give the Silk's Robe to the mage, give the Rune Staff to the mage, give the hero's bracelet to the thief, and then use some seeds on the hero, and then use that 100 item on the thief. Alright, that was a good menu. So now we go pick up the Meteorite Armband. So I said this briefly during the marathon run, but basically, if you have warp points set up, it doesn't really matter what order you do things, because you're going to throw a wing between transitions anyways. So the reason that you come to Isis now, even though I was just in Isis a bunch of times, is that I basically took care of all that menuing and I left space in the hero's inventory so that when I pick this item up, it goes directly to the hero's inventory. And that's important because on the way to Portoga, which is where I'm walking to now, I'm 100% going to get into at least one fight. And during that at least one fight, I'm going to, so this is a place where that can happen, I'm going to equip the Meteorite Armband in battle, which is what I just did there. And that just saves time over doing it within the actual menu. I could open the menu, hit equip, do all that. However, it's much faster to do it in battle. Meteorite Armband is very helpful for the rest of the game. And you can't cut it out because it's way too valuable. Plus it takes like 30 seconds to get. It's a purge. Alright, so I got into the encounter here. You're supposed to grind out an encounter before you walk to Romilly. I keep calling it Romilly. Portoga, the next town that we're going to. These guys are not dangerous. So with all that money I bought, you get quite a bit of backup gear. So your first two characters are fairly tanky, but your last two characters are definitely not tanky. Especially mine in this run. So what I'm doing here is swapping the thief's... I'm sorry, the mage had the fur hood that I originally bought for the thief, and I had to put it back onto the mage. Oh, I got into a fight here. This is really bad, unfortunately. Again, this is completely outside of my control, but I got into a fight, which is something you don't want to see to begin with, and then getting into a ambush is even worse. So this is very slow, as you can see. However, it's not very dangerous. There's a few fights here that are definitely dangerous, but this is not one of them. That actually wasn't terrible. So yeah, now I can save a little bit of menuing here because I don't have to sell the ruby bracelet I was talking about before. I just go right into buying because I had all that money on me. And then we're doing okay in this segment. That last battle kind of sucked, but everything else is going okay. So here, I had to move to the right because the NPC was in my way. You sort your items so that you have enough inventory space to put the herbs in both of your thief and mage's inventory. They need to have max herbs in their active inventory and not in the bag because you need to use them during the Kandar fight if you need to. I took a half step too far to the left there. So this is another menu coming up. We need to use a few seeds and put the Mafuji wand, that item, on the warrior, which is the Mist Staff. Cast Stop Spell. Okay, so now we're off. This time isn't fantastic, but it's doable. Any fight that's got like one group of enemies, I'll fight. If it's got two, I have to weigh whether or not the experience is worth it. But in this case, it's certainly worth it. Because any fight that you can end in one turn is probably worth fighting. Even if the EXP is bad. But if it's two or more, especially with some of the army crab battles, it may not be worth it. Okay, that was actually fairly lucky, getting that stretch without an encounter. So, like, I'm definitely not fighting this. That's cool that he ran away, but the experience in this fight kind of sucks. And it would take probably 3 turns. That's really unfortunate. Same thing with that. You could probably clear that out in 2 turns, but the EXP is just not worth it. That walk was actually very fast, so I leave immediately. You can get a fur hood there, but again, it's risk-reward ratio. I felt like saving time, so I didn't pick up the fur hood there. Honestly, I think it's a waste of time to get the fur hood anymore. I think if you're going for like under 330, it's acceptable to get the fur hood there, but not under 3 hours. There's so much stuff you have to cut out in order to get this kind of time. And really, having another fur hood is really nice because it gives your mage and your thief defense. And the mage is sort of really struggling. The thief right now has a traveler's clothes on and fur hood, and the mage has a silk robe, which is actually a pretty decent piece of equipment that we picked up from one of the vaults, and no helmet for this run. Army crabs are okay to fight. You sort of don't have a choice. In this fight, it's worth it because I can clear it out in one battle. Oh, sorry, one turn. Alright, so my levels are, what, 2, 4, 4, 3. About average. That walk to this tower actually turned out to be very fast, which is awesome. Here, I need to fight probably about 4 battles, maybe 5. I believe for this run I got to level 4 with the mage, and I could have fought one more battle to get to level 5, because I believe I got no spells. Let's see, at level 4 right here, this is the mage leveling up. Okay, so I didn't learn the spell Upper Sukara. So I don't have any spells on the mage, which it makes Kandar 1 a little bit more risky. It's a 50-50 shot of that spell, and it's a 50-50 shot of the spell at level 5, which is Ice Bolt. Ice Bolt is a huge benefit for the fights. But, I also put the Rune Staff on the mage, which is something you always do. And, yeah, so that attack right there, the 17 damage attack, was from the mage. The Rune Staff is a plus 40 attack power weapon, which is much better than the other weapons that I just bought for my hero, my warrior, and my thief. And that's on the mage, so even though she's a mage, she doesn't have great strength. At this point in the game, having plus 40 attack power is actually quite good. Also, during that fight with the bats, I got into I got a random drop from that fight, which is a Sacred Knife. I can sell that for 187 gold, which is actually what I do in this run, because I needed pretty much exactly that amount, which is kind of cool. Hello, Sacronova. Alright, so at this point, I thought that this fight was going to get me to level 5 on the mage, but I believe it's just the hero that gets to level 4. So at this point, I know that my mage is very, very close to level 5. But she didn't level up. So you can grind out another fight, but obviously that takes time. And again, I'm sort of pressed for time as it is, so I was just like, well, I'm not going to do that, basically. I just went into the fight. So yeah, you need to switch your, well, first you have to heal your party. then you need to switch the meteorite armband from the hero to the thief, so that the thief definitely goes first in battle. I have to rearrange my inventory here. So yeah, that's the equipment swap, and we're off. I opened the menu to alright, whatever. Probably lost like 40 frames or so. Okay, anyways, so yeah, Candor 1, 3 people attack the same enemy, and that'll kill one of them. Here I need to weigh very quickly who needs to get healed and who needs to do what. So the thief is the 3rd slot. So she healed herself on turn 1. Now the thief's gonna heal hero. And I decided to attack with the mage, which is slightly risky, but I really wanted that second guy dead. So I'm actually glad I did, because it took 3 hits. So Candor defended twice in a row, which is actually very fortunate, because it gave me a chance to sort of catch up on healing. Once his minions are dead, ordinarily what you do with the mage is you beef everybody's defense up with the spell upper, but I didn't get the spell upper, so instead we're going to be doing, the mage is going to be the one healing instead of the thief. But as you can see, even with the Silk Robe on, she takes 35 damage, so she's sort of always in the realm of being dead in one shot. What's up, Theory SC2? So yeah, every time he swings his axe like that, it's 1/8 chance of crit. If there's ever a chance, or ever an instance in which I really need to heal somebody first, I'm going to use the thief. Because she has the highest chance of going first, basically. That fight was actually pretty good. There was only 1 miss, and that was from the mage, which is not very crucial. Oh, I gotta remember to split. I've been using not splits for quite a while, outside of any streaming, so I kind of forget to split. Anyways, yeah, that fight was pretty good. Menuing is fine. Again, like, I'm pretty happy with my battle menuing. And it's really just because you have to be. You have to be sort of held to the standard of not wasting time in battles. I believe there's one fight in this PB that I know my menuing within the battle was not great. But it wasn't even that bad. I think I had to weigh whether or not I should have ran from the battle or not. I ended up running, and someone almost died, but it was the best thing to do. Whatever, it's in the Necrogon, we'll cover that later. So yeah, I needed to go into my menu to use my last stamina seed and then warp out of here after healing my party. Alright, no fight here is pretty nice. I believe my mage got Gira, which is Fireball. Instant item. Nolodo, the dwarf. I'm just going to give you a preview now for anybody who's watching, but the Zoma fight in this PB is insane. So sort of the same here. I do need to fight these battles, but there's some in which I can weigh the risk of running away. More often than not, you'll fight the battles in here. I believe the second fight here, I decided to run. I think it's a 2 wasp fight, and I think the fight after that, I decided to... Nice Kaishin. I decided to fight it. The 3rd fight. We'll see. Anyways, I'm sort of at the low end of my HP spectrum for what's acceptable before I start being at risk. Okay, so here what I did was... Yeah, I didn't run from this. It's way too dangerous to run. This fight kind of is too bad. Because you can get surrounded, which is what happened. Half my party is surrounded because the dogs didn't get expelled fast enough. I believe here I weighed whether or not I should change my equipment. Yeah, I did. So yeah, this really just has to do with what sort of... Yeah, see there? I almost used a wing. It was a few frames away from basically a dead run. So I got the same exact fight. I have enough MP on the hero to use Expel, so I'm going to do that. But hopefully... I mean, I put the Meteorite Armband back on the Thief. Oh, I'm sorry, back on the hero. However, he still decided to go, like, second to last, which sucks. But luckily that turn ended in one... That fight ended in one turn. So again, I have to be cognizant that I need to keep my HP high. Like, this is a fight that I could have ended in one turn, but I don't need the EXP because I know that my mage got Fireball. And again, it's like, I'm just trying to cut as many seconds as possible. You might think that, oh, it's one turn, you can beat it. But the prospect of, like, saving some time because you don't need a fight and you're not going to die from it, you just have to weigh that risk every fight. And, like, I didn't need the EXP anymore, so... And it wastes a lot more time than you might think, just fighting out a battle. Even if it's one turn, sometimes putting up with, like, the level up jingle and the EXP reward and all that. And, well, also the animations of every attack from your party. It's just very minor stuff that adds up over time. So yeah, this menu looks pretty fine. What I need to do is refill herbs on the Thief and the Mage. And then I need to get some extra herbs now that I've got a little bit of spare money. I need it for the Garuna segment. And we're off to Kandar 2. It's looking fairly clean so far. My levels are okay. But I got the spell I needed on the mage. Having Fireball for the fight is really good. You either take the inn here or at the town that I was in before, or the town that I warped to before. You swap the Iron Shield to the Warrior because you just bought 3 magic shields for your party. And you take care of that menu after you do the inn. Pretty much all your menus are planned out, except for healing. That's where it pivots. So this fight is actually kind of dangerous. These guys do a lot of damage. So I have to defend with my mage on turn 1, so that if she gets hit, she doesn't die in 2 hits. She definitely will. Alright, so it was still a fairly quick fight. And no second encounter, which is really cool. So this segment's actually looking really nice. The walkover from the cave to the town was quite quick. Here, I see a lot of J runners, even ones that are just going for fairly safe time, get the seeds to the left of here, but it wastes a lot of time. It wastes like 35 seconds. So what you do here is, it's kind of a pain, but you use the hero to heal your party, but you still have to open the menu to check to see if anybody needs healing before the fight. So basically, I took such little damage that I didn't need to heal anybody. Okay, this fight, you can lose definitely a lot of time. I have to be watching out, basically, for everybody's max HP and whether or not the defense is down. If they cast Decrease, I have to say in my head 1, 2, 3, and 4 and keep track. So like this, it was 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to do 1 reset defense, 2 reset defense, 3 reset defense, 4. And I have to keep track of that every turn. You can reset defense by, so here, all 4 of them. This is kind of dangerous. if Hero got hit again, he probably would have died. But again, like, this fight, you just want it to be over, because they can heal themselves, so you just sort of suck it up. I don't believe I healed anybody. I kind of mismenu that. Yes. So Hero's at risk, but... Okay, so that was actually really good. Because they didn't heal themselves, which means that that actually ended up being a fast fight. I probably lost like a second or so, because I sort of mismenued stuff. Not really mismenued, it was just a little slow. Alright, there again, I used the hero to heal with his heal spell to burn all of his MP, which is faster than using herbs, but again, I need to still check whether or not their HP is not at max. And if I happen to use herbs during that fight, which I didn't, but if you did, you need to replenish your character's inventory from the bag. But that was just to check whether or not they needed HP. Same thing, if you're going for a fast time, you really just gotta blitzkrieg. Don't worry about your HP too much and just try to kill them. Unless the mage, the last party member, gets hit too much, you don't really bother with healing on the first and second turn. Well, really after the first turn. So here, I did because the thief doesn't have the strongest equipment. Oh, nice Kaishin. And yeah, I knew I would have to heal on this turn, so I'm resetting defense here, and then starting to cast Upper on my party. You might think, oh, Upper is sort of like a defensive move. Why would you use that instead of attack spells? Really, the way it works is that because you can cast Upper and beef up the defense of your whole party, it's less time for you to heal your party, and you can have your thief, who is a physical damage dealer, attack instead of heal your party. And then once their defense is high enough, you can rely on the mage to be the healer, because she has herbs as well. It's all about efficiency. The problem with the mage's spells is that they don't always connect with Kandar. And I need to keep 8 MP on the mage for using the outside spell after this fight. So all of those considerations come into effect when you're trying to do this fast. You really want to get people's defense up so that you can focus on attacking with the mage, or I'm sorry, the thief, so that the mage can heal. Even the difference of like 10 to 15 damage per turn saves turns. You really just want to fight every fight in as few turns as possible. This is looking pretty smooth. Nice Kaishin. That was 2 Kaishins in this fight. That was a good fight. Very solid. My hero's attack power isn't fantastic. It's not bad, it's just not outrageously high. I've seen some really good attack power, but this is like okay. Warrior's HP is pretty decent. I think he's got like 115 or so. It's about what I'd really like to see, so that's good. So Mage learned Riramito, or Outside, which is not guaranteed, but it's very rare to not see it. I think you've got 3 chances of rolling before you get through this fight. Forgot to split, but yeah, so 48-30 Kandar is like, it's okay. It's not blazing fast, but that third segment was quite fast. The second segment was kind of slow, mostly because of the few fights I got on the way to Portoga. So you come here, I get the black pepper, and then this segment is really just all about crossing your fingers and hoping you don't get into encounters, which I guess is most of this game, honestly, but for this specific part, there's really not much you do besides some sailing and getting some key items before you go to Garuna. You take an inn because you need to have max HP when you enter Garuna, so you do this here because it's the most efficient place to do it, because you walk through this town to talk to the king anyways. You're not going to level up or do anything. Well, you might level up, but you're not going to level up significantly with any of your party members before you enter the tower. So we're just going to walk to Sue now. Usually it's 2 fights on the way over. This way, I mean, it's relatively harmless, but it can be slow. Because they can summon allies and can waste your time. That wasn't so bad. I think I get 4 times crab here. Which again isn't, well, this one's a little more dangerous. Because they can critical you. But I ran away, which is really nice. So yeah, that was fine. Get here before nighttime. You have to store your items here. Because you're going to collect a whole bunch of stuff and distribute them. Basically what's in your inventory now is just a lot of herbs for the thief and the mage. So I need to sell that rare drop I got before because it put me right over 300 gold. I could sell some other stuffs, but that's the most efficient thing to sell because I got a basically free 150 gold drop. Use the holy water, and then we go to Eliahan. We use the holy water because it offsets encounters during that small patch of land right there. And then if I don't get into an encounter before I hit land up here, it'll save a few steps. I think I get into a fight here though. No, I did not. Okay, so that little stretch of land right there, that's where the holy water helps too. And then it helps with like 4 steps after I warp to Reeve right after this. But yeah, this is looking good. You have encounter risk right here, but that didn't happen, which is nice. I believe I got the frame saver for my buddy Countdown. I do not believe I got it in Zoma's castle, but I got this one. The one that matters. Okay. So yeah, this little stretch here gets the benefit of the holy water. Then the holy water wears off right about now. And yeah, it's really, this is just about trying to avoid encounters. Not much you can do, but a lot of this is sailing through the ocean, and the ocean has a much lower encounter rate. Oh, thank you, Seeker. Yeah, I mean, I've been playing this a lot offline because of the nature of resetting and how this game can be stressful. But I did want to restream it because I'm very proud of this. Okay, so I need to make sure that my HP is high before I go off to this next segment. There's one step where you can get into an encounter. It's quite dangerous. But yeah, you sail up to Edinburgh. If you get into that one step, it's very dangerous. And the chances of getting that step are at maximum when you don't get an encounter all the way. So right there, I could have gotten into a fight. And it was fairly high chance of doing so because I had not gotten into a fight before that. But worked out. You have to weigh whether or not you want to grind out a fight on the ocean so that you don't get basically one-shotted. But I took the risk. Alright, let's see how the puzzle. That was so funny, dude. I was practicing during limit break, and I did this section, and Spike came up to me and was like, I just want to let you know that puzzle probably would have taken me and Pi about 3 hours to finish. Alright, so this is a fairly big menu. We need to put the bolt staff on the mage. Put the heavy metal ring on the mage. This. Need to put the party dress on the thief. Then I need to swap bracelets so that the meteorite armband is back on the thief. Or I'm sorry, the hero. And then we wing to Sue. Sort items again. So here we buy a poison needle. We give it to the thief, but we don't equip it to save a little bit of time in the menu. Then we put it on the mage, and we do equip it with the mage because it'll move the bolt staff to the first instance of her inventory. So here I need to sell off, if I got any backup gear before I sell it off now. I sell the fur hood that I picked up. I sell one of the shields on the warrior. I sell that slick suit. And then I buy the silver beret for the mage. And then you blow the rest of your money on moth powders. Yo, what's up, rename? Me too, buddy. Okay. So yeah, we're filling up their inventory. I believe I buy one last round of herbs. No, I don't. Oh, that's right, because I bought quite a bit before. So I'm just making sure everybody's HP is at max here. So I didn't need to on that last one. And we're off. I think this segment's actually quite fast. Well, I shouldn't say I think. I know it's quite fast. So I got a preemptive there, so I was menuing as if I was going to fight it, but then you can just run. Yeah, it's a gold split. That was very, very fast. You will always get into one fight on the first floor at least. It's usually two. Apes only have 40 HP, so they'll go down in 2 attacks. And, well, 2 attacks from your whip users, and at worst, 1 other attack. So if they're the only enemies on screen, they will die. They have some fire resistance, though. Resistance in this game is basically like, you either take full damage or you take 0 damage. It's not resistance like, oh, it's reduced by... This is for enemies, by the way, not for your party. It's not reduced by like 50% or something. It's just either you take full damage or you don't. Your party has a different story. Your equipment does affect your percentages. Alright, so yeah, we're being at 57 minutes, high 57 minutes at this point is good. It's definitely good. It's really, really solid. I'll just give you sort of the preview now. This slime grind is a shame, because there's a few fights here that should have gone way better than they did. This fight here is actually the most dangerous fight in this grind. It's not particularly dangerous, but if you're at not max HP and you get bad turn order and they do the worst attacks, you definitely can have somebody die. So yeah, this is a fight that you're extremely happy to see. I use 4 moth powders on them. 70% chance of each one, so that one hit. And they're generally sticking around too, so that one hit. But then my party used the same one on the same party, or same enemy, which sucks. It's just a waste. And that one failed. So 2 on the map right now are confused. I had to switch equipment with a thief. And they all start to run. So at this point you're kind of pissed, because basically a 7 metal just went straight to a 2 metal. These 2 are confused. So I got 2. I think I only got 2. Which is really just like, you can't be so mad because you saw medals and you got 2 of them, but the difference of getting like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 is just enormous. And that was just not very superb. But even still, getting the first medal out of the way is nice, because what happens is that once you get the first medal, it really indicates to you how much HP your warrior has. So my warrior has 134 HP, which means that I can kill him off in battle. 130 is about where you need to be. Doesn't really matter what your level is. The whole point is that you need to gauge what your HP is going to be for the Baramos fight. So 130 right now is acceptable for that later. This fight kind of sucks too. So I'm purposely not healing the warrior, but I'm trying to make sure his HP is somewhere around the range of like 20 to 40. Because I want him alive long enough in a battle to throw a moth powder and then die afterwards if there's medals on the field. If he does die before that, it's okay, but it's just slightly more efficient to sort of leave him alive and then kill him off in battle, so that he's got some function of helping out with medals. You grind very close to this set of stairs so that when your warrior dies, you can immediately go upstairs. Alright, so I see this fight, and you're just like, oh, that's great. So, using moth powders on 3 of my party members. So that first one failed, so 1 ran away, so this is bad. Another one ran away. So that one landed. And that one landed. So I'm killing off the warrior now, so he's going to attack himself. So what sucks about that is that the confused medals attacked each other as opposing to attacking the non-confused one. I believe this one runs, yeah. So again, like that could have been so much better, basically. But again, like, this is completely out of my control. You can see by the menuing that I'm just like blazing through each fight, but just gotta take what it gives. So yeah, I grinded right next to the stairs, and then I changed my party as soon as I had the warrior die. Then I go upstairs, and what that does is puts the what I just equipped there was the silver beret, which is something I bought for the mage earlier, but now the thief has one. They're both going to use that till the end of the game. Hello, Devilic. It's going alright. So now I need to heal. A very unfortunate fight. I know that my thief already has the steel whip equipped. I need to very, very much pay attention, if I can, to what pieces of equipment are on my party. So what you do with the thief is that you switch between the poison needle, which is the guaranteed 1 damage to a metal, but only does 1 damage to anything, and switch between that and the steel whip, which is used to clear out enemies. So right now, yeah, so this is the type of fight that can be quite dangerous, as you can see. Luckily, the Sky Dragons are 100% susceptible to Expel. One of the 5 enemies in the game that are like that, which is very fortunate for us, because they would be awful if they couldn't be expelled. It's very weird that they are, too. So yeah, this is not great right now. I've seen quite a few medals, and I've gotten 6 so far, I think. Yes, the warrior does attack himself, and I think the hero is going to do it later too. When you're in the attack menu, you can press, so if you look when I'm selecting which enemies to attack, there's a little right arrow at the bottom right. I'll point it out when we get there next. If you press right when you're selecting which enemies to attack, you can select your party members instead. They introduced that in Dragon Warrior 4 for the NES, I believe. They implemented it in this version of this. So if there's only one Sky Dragon, you opt to fight it, because the Sky Dragon gives actually pretty decent EXP, and good money too. Alright, so this is a nice fight. What you do is you use a metal, or use a moth powder on the metals, you use one moth powder on the moths, and then you hope that the 70% chance of the metal lands, and then it's 100% chance on the moths, and then you hope that the moths connect their attacks and hit the metals. So that right there is really good. So now I want to focus my thief and my mage to use the poison needles on that right metal slime. So the left one was confused, but that's fine because the moth got it. As you can see, my I have to be quite careful here because my hero is in critical. But yeah, two of my party members got paralyzed during that fight, which is really unfortunate. It's not common at all to get paralyzed, but it can happen. To have two party members paralyzed is bad. And if I had three party members paralyzed, I'd wipe out, so I had to clear out that fight. Alright, so this is good. I mean, like, I'm seeing medals. I'm not getting the best fights, but I'm seeing them. So that's kind of unfortunate. So, yeah, 3 of them ran on first try, but then the 2 moth powders that I laid down that turn did succeed. So if I get 2 here, I'd be really happy. I believe I get 1, not sure. Yeah. So, like, that's just really sort of devastating. So once you've used enough moth powders, what you do is you open the warrior's inventory who died, and you need to distribute the rest of his moth powders, and then you need to also give, which is what I did right there, is you give the warrior's steel sword to the hero. And what that does is that even though it's a weaker weapon for the hero, when you're trying to single target metals, you want to have the hero have the steel sword on, so that you can single target instead of targeting the first of a group of metals. Same strat here. I'm really happy I'm seeing metals, but hopefully we get more than 1. So that one's confused. Garudas are 100% susceptible to being confused, but unfortunately they can cast spells on the metals, which is pointless because metals don't take damage from spells. But if they physical, they'll do quite a bit of damage if they don't miss. That one only did 1, which kind of sucks, but usually they do between like 3 and 6, which is great. Metals have the most, or the most the metal can have is 4 HP. Alright, so this is a really good fight. Got 3 of them, which is sick. Nice. It is a 1 in 16 chance of your metal, or your poison needle, killing an enemy. So yeah, I mean, this grind isn't, like, quote-unquote terrible, but what I said before was that it's sort of a shame because it could have just been those every enemy or every metal fight where it was just straight up only metals. It's been like 1 or 2 metals when it can be like 3 or 4, which is a game changer. But still, it's not going terribly. It's just not world record fast, basically. Again, like, something to remember in comparison to many other RPG speedruns is that Like, there's so much in this game that's just completely out of your control. And what you're doing is sort of like fighting against the tide to sort of keep up with whatever the game throws at you. The route is optimal. The outcome almost never is. And I say the route is optimal. And there's many slight variations on what to do, but the general gist of what you're doing is always the same. You alter it for your risk-reward ratio. If I were to play for another 5 years, maybe I can get a 239, but I'm not going to do that. Alright, so this is... I mean, every time you see this fight, you sort of get excited. It's a bad start because that first medal was not confused, and then that medal was not confused, which is extremely unlucky. And they both ran away, so this sucks. Yeah, this is just a travesty. So we got one. I think I get this one too. They have a 30... No, I didn't. So I got one. That's just really bad. Yeah, so I had to swap back to the steel whip so that I can take this guy out. So, level 18 means that usually you've got about 7 medals left. And, like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, all those fights where I got into a medals, and there was, like, 6 medals, and I only got 1 or 2. If I got 3 or 4, I'd be done with this grind right now. That's the difference. This is, as anybody can imagine, this is where a lot of time can be saved or made up. And it's just sort of... I mean, on average, there's sort of a benchmark that you need to leave the Mage Warrior split by under 130 to get a sub 3 time. But it can be much faster than that. So this is sort of a chaotic fight. Actually, I menu this fairly well. What you need to do is clear out the moths. And even though the moths are probably the best enemy to confuse, you're still in the context of trying to beat these battles quickly. So what you do is you clear them out. Alright, so that's awesome. I'm getting these 2 medals, which is a really good fight. That one got confused, so he's definitely sticking around. The Garuda attacked the other one and killed it, so... 5 more years. Thus spoke David Bowie. But yeah, I mean, if you've ever watched this run before, you know that if you were to walk in here and get basically all medal fights only and peace out, you'd save a lot of time, which is what Maru's old PB does. So yeah, I'm sort of running low on moth powders, but so that one failed. That one's gonna hit. But they're generally sticking around. Again, like, I'm seeing a lot of medals, so I can't complain too much. Sometimes you just never see them. That's why this time sort of turned out to be average. So they all stuck around too. Ooh, and that landed, causing a visual glitch. That one stuck around too. So I decided to use the moth powder here to guarantee that one, because I knew I was getting close to level 20 with my teeth. They should get level 19. And I believe at this point there's like one more medal fight before I move on. Like, overall, this segment is okay. I mean, it's not terrible, but you can imagine that it could be better. I've basically been seeing a lot of medals, but I've been throwing a lot of moth powders, and quite a few of them have failed. But even still, this time is pretty average, I'd say. That's something else, Countess. So yeah, at this point, I pretty much need one more fight with metals. I think I need 2 more, maybe 3. I gotta heal here. I have to consider too that I'm going to be taking an inn fairly soon, but I definitely need to keep my HP high enough so I don't die. But I don't want to heal to max. Alright, so this is one where you stop using moth powders at this point. So he stuck around, which is cool. He only had 3 HP, so he went down. Alright, yeah, it should be one more fight with metals, and then we're done. I mean, even if you got that fight for every fight and you only got 1 medal, it would still be great. It's fights like these that suck. I think, in my opinion, this is one of the hardest parts of the game to learn. One, it's a bitch to practice because it's really not very fun to practice. But there's tons of time to be saved, not just from the metal fights themselves, but identifying what the fights are and making sure you can react quickly and keep on top of what's in your inventory. It's very, very challenging. So, like, again, these fights are just like, 2 of them ran away. I threw a moth powder. That one failed. I'm off to a terrible start. That one landed. And he missed, so it's just like, really subpar. But they're sticking around this turn, which is good. 1 down. 1 ran away. I'm trying to kill off my hero if I can, because he got to level 18, which is the benchmark I need. That second one ran away, which kind of sucks. I'm being somewhat cautious here, but I really want to make sure that the hero is dead. So I would manage to kill him off. I did not get that 3rd medal, but because I was able to kill the hero, I knew that I had enough EXP to get to level 20, which is what I need. You do need to be careful to make sure that you don't get too much EXP during this segment, because you may want to save before getting to level 21, and that's right around the same time that your thief, who's turned into a sage at that point, gets to level 14. Basically the gist of it is that you just want to make sure you don't get too much EXP at the end of that grind. So I got to level 20, I'm out of there. A 11740-ish it's totally acceptable. I would say it's probably perfectly average. Maybe a little bit on the slow side, considering I entered the Garuna split at 56:49, which is a pretty decent time. That is incredibly rare to get that fight. That is just insane. So when you're walking on the ocean, your encounter rate is like 1/3 of what it usually is. And on top of that, I have Shinobi feet. So I believe I looked this up. Hold on, I'm gonna look this up again. But I believe that's like a 0.3% chance of happening. One sec. Oh no, I'm sorry, 0.03%. Hold on, I'm gonna link something in chat, which is a spreadsheet that CureQ made for me of encounter rates and their percentage chance of happening. So this one is going to be 512 on this spreadsheet. If you feel like perusing that, if you look in next to the possible counter values and you look at 512, and then you move to the right and see percentage chance. Oh, I'm sorry, not 0.03, 0.13%. that is the specific encounter value for 4 steps on the ocean affected by shinobi feet. Anyways, I'm just telling you how sometimes completely ridiculous, insignificant things do happen to your speedrun. But, I mean, it's not super costly, it's just ridiculous. That being said, there was a encounter on the way to the pyramid that I probably got the same percentage on the other side of the spectrum. It was incredibly long before I got into an encounter. So, I guess it evens out. Alright, so this menu, you give the heavy metal ring to the sage, which is what I did first, and then you sort the sage's inventory. Now you put all the moth powders you have left into the sage's inventory. You swap the hero's armband to the hero, you give the mage the meteorite armband, and then now you put the steel sword on the sage, and then you warp to Dharma. So that whole point before about having the hero being able to single target versus attack a whole group, now that we have the sage, she can equip whips and swords. So we do the same thing with her. So yeah, this segment's very, very fast. I got into a fight with many metals, and basically I just gambled, and I didn't want to do the save before level 21, so I just basically gambled it all. So if you're not familiar, which is something that drives me crazy, but the developers of this game decided to make this specific spell, by kill, a 50-50% chance of learning at level 21. And because of that horrible, horrible decision by the developers, essentially, unless you save before getting to level 21, you gamble your speedrun on a 50% chance of happening. If you're fairly ahead due to a good metal slime grind and you can manage your EXP fairly well, it's definitely worth it to do it if you're going for like a sub 3 time, but in many, if not most scenarios, you just sort of have to go for it and hope you get it. So here, this battle is not fantastic. It's sort of weird because I'm not really set up with my party with 2 party members to clear out 3 groups of enemies. So what you do is you moth powder the metal and hope it lands. And then you use the mage to clear out the other enemies. So that moth powder did not land on the metal. But at this point, the other 2 enemies were cleared, so I decided to use the moth powder on the moth. The reason that you want to clear out enemy groups is that when one enemy in a group is confused, it'll 100% attack other groups. But if there's 2 other groups, it's a 50-50 shot as to which it chooses. And I don't want a confused moth attacking the Garudas, so I killed the Garudas, so that the confused moth definitely attacks the metal. So we got 2 medals there, which is actually awesome. I had very low expectations for a fight like that, so getting 2 is extremely, extremely fast. So that's a great, great start to this segment. And this helps power up your sage so that you can actually start killing enemies with the whip. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, I've got about 5,000 EXP on the sage. I've got about 7,000 to go before she hits... I got stuck there, I guess. She hits level 21. I'm sorry, before the sage hits level 14 and the mage hits level 21. This is a cool fight, too. Do I get this? I do. Very nice. So now I'm about 3,000 EXP away from level 21, which is great. This is like an awesome, awesome segment. Sorry, a little more than that. Yeah, about 5,000. I think I miscounted by 1 medal before. But I knew this during the run, so what I could have done was gotten 2 medals, fought a few other battles, saved, and then reset over getting level 21. But let's see here. Yeah, this fight happens. And if this fight happens, it's sort of like, don't be a bitch and just go for it. Because, like, you can get such a great reward from this fight. So my 2 moth powders went onto the same medal, which is the worst thing that can happen. Then I get the 1 shot there. So 1's down, 1 ran. These 2 on the right have stuck around, which is awesome. Left one's confused. So he sticks around. That middle one's got 1 HP left, and the right one's got 2, I believe. Oh, max 2. Okay. So I get that. And then I get that. So I'm definitely getting to level 21. That was an awesome, awesome fight. And my Sage hit level 14 easily, which is the Heal More spell. So here it is. We get it. So we're good. We're done here. We're done with the grind. It's all over. Gambled everything on the 50%er. However, I was very close to level 22, so if I didn't get it there, I actually could have kept going and just probably gotten 1 more medal, then saved and tried to do it that way. But as you can imagine, it's a massive time sink. So yeah, we're off. First grind was like a little subpar, but honestly fairly average. That second grind was very fast. Very, very good. This segment is the worst segment I've ever seen of this segment. And it's not the boss troll fight. The boss troll fight actually is pretty much perfect. I got into 6 encounters during this, and you're just gonna see how ridiculous this is. This is something that's like soul-crushing to watch, because there's so many instances in which I get into these fights that are just completely absurd. So whatever time gain that I had from that great Mage Warrior split goes straight down the drain. Again, this isn't representative of me messing up a menu or misstepping or anything. It's just like, this game had blood out for the next 15 minutes in it. It shows. This first part of the segment isn't bad. You just go solo Sage and you have to run from battles, but you're not at risk of dying or anything, so. The havoc starts right after this cave, though. But, anyways, the point is that you really want to enter the second half of the game, which is after Mage Warrior split, under an hour and 30, which gives you an hour and 30, obviously, for the second half of the game, which is very doable, but obviously, like, some things like Baramos and Zoma have to go well. But having any extra leeway you can going into the second half is really, really helpful. So yeah, I really have to watch my MP in this cave. If I drop before 8, I cannot cast the outside spell. That looks a little weird with the stairs though, but you have to approach the stairs from the top half of its sprite anyways to actually go into it. Something to note here is that 176 HP on the Sage is crazy at level 15. That is insane. It's really, really good. She usually has about like 120, 130, so she's got 40 more HP than I expect her to have. I don't know what was up with her stat gains, but they were just insane. Something that's also somewhat underappreciated, I definitely underappreciated it, that you really need to be very cognizant as to when you use your Shinobi feat, which is when I'm opening the menu and casting that spell, which is the encounter reduction spell. But you really want to never see the dialogue that tells you it ran out. You should always just be continually rolling it over, with the exception of when you're walking around town or something, then you let it burn out. good here. This awkward menu is... It's sort of like you have to open your menu, and you may have 1 or 2 pages based on how many spells you happen to have learned. And it's a different timing menu because when you have your full party, you have to do 3 selects. You have to open the menu, you have to select your party member, then you have to select your spell. But when you only have 1 party member, you open the menu, then you select your spell. And that sounds pretty obvious, but that's the only point in the game in which that happens, and it really like throws off your menuing just 1 click away. So you have to be very careful. And it's the one time that the sage has to use the outside spell anyways. Okay. So we made it here without an encounter, which is cool. That doesn't always happen. You always revive your 2 party members after this segment, and then hopefully you keep them alive, but we're gonna see what happens. Yep, so here you put the Dia armor, or the Terra armor, that you got from the cave back on the warrior. He's going to use that for the boss troll fight, but it's very valuable. You sell it for 9,000 gold. Okay, so you very, 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 very rarely get into a fight. However, I got into the fight 1 step before getting into this town. Of course, failed to run first try. And guess which party member they're targeting? The critical to my low HP level 1 warrior. I failed to run 3 times, which is 9% chance of happening. And my party is devastated. So that's like ridiculous. So I was not in a good mood after that, because basically I have to go and heal. Well, healing. I heal here, but I have to go and revive, which sucks. It's just a waste of time. What's up, Broseph? So, yep, sort everybody's items here, then you sort the bag. Get the Lamp of Darkness, which is huge. You come to this town for the green orb, but you leave after you get the Lamp of Darkness. Okay, so I have a dead party member. However, the walk that I'm about to do is dangerous as well, and somebody could die, even though it's also unlikely to get into fights. It could happen. So the idea is that if you're going to do dangerous segments, you get them all out of the way, and then you heal your party members afterwards. So I'm just going to reiterate this. It's still very unlikely that you're going to get into fights on the way to San Minosa. You take a Lamp of Darkness at a specific spot that works most of the time. However, we get into this shit encounter, which at this point I was like seething with rage, because these guys have one of the longest animation spells in the game. I'm just bleeding time for no good reason while they summon allies. So I'm like, okay, fine. At this point I can stretch it a little bit longer because my encounter rate reset. And then I get another encounter with these shitheads. Just incredibly unlucky. And I'm failing to run a lot. It's just... I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. But I'm not going to use the Lamp of Darkness. 1, because it turned to night, but 2, using the Lamp of Darkness does cost some time, so... whatever. We're through it. And we have to put herbs into the Mage Warrior's inventory. And I have to now go get the raw mirror. So again, you take a Lamp of Darkness in the next 2 steps, but I got into a fight early, so... It's just like, this segment wouldn't stop. And now I was just playing like... I can't afford to lose any more time. I can't open the menu to heal. I just have to go. And ordinarily, you don't have any problems in this cave. Had to reset Shinobi feet. And guess what? Another fucking encounter. I was like, so mad. Because this is just like ridiculous at this point. Hero goes down. You can cast Expel on these guys for a fairly high success rate, but this whole segment is just like, I can't... I'm complaining a lot because I'm reiterating how ridiculously improbable it is to get all these fights. I often get through Samanosa with like 1 fight max. I've seen 5 so far, and 2 party members are dead. Anyways, usually you warp to Samanosa now, but you have to warp to Kazav, which is the fastest place to access the church to revive your party members. So, all in, this is probably about 2 minutes that just went straight down the drain. And there was literally nothing I could do about it. You take all of those Lamp of Darkness and wherever you reset the encounter rate, you take all of that at the same points every run. So, whatever. All of that shit is behind us. The rest of the run is actually pretty clean from here, but that stretch was just absurd. Like I said, any time saving I had from Mage Warrior was eradicated. But, I mean, we're still, like, on okay pace. It's just, it's a lot less safe. Yes, this is a restream. I hit my goal on Friday, so I am free of this game's curses. So here you need 2,300 gold. I was checking to see if I had moth powders, but I don't believe I did. So I had to sort of scramble, and I just ended up selling the Black Hood. Usually you have a few moth powders, but whatever. So Zombie Killer on the Warrior, which is going to be his main sword of attacking for quite a while. 3 Dragon Shields, which is a really, really excellent piece of equipment. So that was one of the menus I was talking about before that cost me time. There's not a ton of menu mistakes, but that is one of them. Not really mistake, just sort of slow. Probably lost like 6 seconds or so there. Sorry, Countess. You must look inside for the answer. Anyways, yeah, I'm still fairly salty about that whole segment. However, this boss fight goes really well, so you can have really nasty, bad boss trolls. You can also just have like safe boss trolls that are really slow, but this one was good. Heal up. Bra mirror. Let's go. So again, the strategy is, if your hero has stop spell, he uses it. I have to check to see if he does have it. He does not. So only the warrior is going to cast stop spell with the Mafuji wand. Sage and Mage Warrior will cast increase 6 times total, 3 times each. Well, sorry, no. It's 3 times on the Sage, 2 times on the Mage Warrior, and then the Mage Warrior uses Buy Kill on Boss Troll so he can stop having a chance of criticalling me. So every time he does that big swing, I have a 12.5% chance of getting crit, but I did not get crit. I landed the Buy Kill on Boss Troll, so I'm playing a little bit risky here, as you can see, with the hero's health. And I thought he was going to die here, but luckily he didn't. My Sage got outsped, even though she's got the Meteorite Armband, which is insane. But I got first try Sap, which is a 30% chance of happening. So at this point in the fight, basically you're in there. Like, now I can start using the Sage to attack as well. And we can just cream this guy. If you get the whole setup on this guy, he's a pushover. He takes like 7 turns after he's sapped. He's got 1500 health. Hero and warrior together usually do about 200 to 220, and then if the Sage doesn't have to heal, she can deal another 80 or so. See how much she does. 78, yeah. The whole reason I put the Mage Warrior's herbs on was for this fight, and also a little bit for Orochi, but mostly this fight. So that was one of the best boss trolls I've ever seen, which really helped make up the time from all those ridiculous encounters before, but that was a really, really good fight. You really want your Mage Warrior to be alive for this fight, and for Orochi too, but we'll talk about that when we get there, because that did not happen, but you'll see. But at least for this fight, she's alive long enough to get the EXP so that she can get a little more HP. She's not going to get a ton, but she'll get some. So yeah, we're still totally on pace. Things are looking good. That split wasn't super great, but we were able to resolve it, and nobody died, which is cool. So you can guess how many tries it took for me to use the change rod to turn into a slime or a dwarf. It's 2 out of 7 chance. I won't spoil it. I got a 3 roll and then on the strength seed. So we're at 2. 3, 4, 5. Actually, not that bad. I hit my PB during practice at Limit Break. 15. 15 tries is my PB. Alright, so you sell off 3 specific items, so you get at least 13,800 gold, so you can afford 2 prayer rings and 2 sleep staffs. And then you have enough money to pivot with some, if somebody dies, which somebody does die. So you swap items, basically you put the Lamp of Darkness back into the hero's inventory, then you give the sleep staff to the Sage and to the Mage Warrior, and then we're going to take care of some story stuff. Cast Shinobi Feet, and then we're off. So yeah, you can use the Lamp of Darkness here to reset the encounters. Even though the water has a lower encounter rate, right now is when the encounter rate actually doubles in the water, so it's wise to take a Lamp of Darkness before going in this area to reset the rate. Always risk undershooting that house, but it turned out okay. Shinobi Feet into Talk to Him for the most optimal menu select. Then we're off to Romilly. I think I yeah, I completely, it's not, it's like 30 frames or so, but I just completely overshot that. That was dumb. So yeah, I'm not getting any more backup seeds or anything. just the ones that are immediate along the way. And we're off to No Annuals. So this is another big walk where you really hope you get into no encounters, but you do everything you can to mitigate it. And if you do, they're not really that bad. It's just some ocean encounters can be very slow, because ocean encounters tend to have many enemies, even if they're not particularly dangerous. Especially the dreaded 7 times marine slime. It can lose you like 45 seconds. So here I'm counting how many steps I'm walking, so I dodge the dangerous encounter water. And then right here, you swap over one tile, and that perfectly dodges the dangerous encounter area. Then you reset the encounter in that shrine. However, I got into a fight right here, which is somewhat unfortunate. It's like obviously not great, but it saves me the trip of going into that shrine, because when you get into a fight, you effectively reset the encounter rate anyways. So it's either you walk in and out of the shrine or you get into a fight. So because I got into a fight, effectively, it saves me a little time, but really I lost time overall. But whatever, it's not a big deal. It would just be redundant to go into that shrine and leave, because I already reset the encounter rate with that fight. Anyways, I didn't get into a fight on the way there, which is cool. So yeah, one fight is probably average. I see a lot of 0 encounters. It's usually 1, maybe 2, 3 if you're really unlucky. So 1 is totally fine. Again, it's not dangerous. It's just at this point, you're just really vying for any fights to go your way. I do have 2 sleep staffs, which is what we use in the Necroground. And we can use them here too. It's rare that there are fights in which it really benefits you to use them. Alright, here, get the Gaia Sword. Now we're off to the Necroground. So this is a pretty big make or break moment. This whole walk to the cave is much more dangerous than the cave itself. You have to reorder your party. I have to make sure everybody's healed. I think I somewhat missed menu here at the Gaia, at the volcano. I think I did not sort my sage's items yet. I try to use, yeah, exactly. So I just have to, it's not a big deal. I just need to open the sage's inventory and swap, or clear her inventory. What that does is it puts items that I'm going to get from here on out for the next like 10 minutes or so at the top of her inventory, gets rid of the raw mirror, but most importantly, when I'm in a battle and I want a menu, before she gets any other items, I know that if I mash through the item menu in battle and use the first cursor slot of whatever's there, it's going to be the sleep staff. So I need to rely upon that. I want to make the fastest menu possible in battle. Alright, so here's the dreaded walk. First fight. Frost Clouds, which is pretty nice. You put your first party member and fourth party member, try to put them to sleep. So, first 2 went to sleep, then the third one went to sleep, so that's really good. So then you just run from here. So that's a really great first fight. The strategy is that you try to put everything to sleep on turn 1, defend with 2 of your characters, and then just cross your fingers and hope they go to sleep and try to run after that. So good, we didn't get into a second encounter, so we used the lamp here. Which is perfect. Have to use Shinobi Feet. And no encounter. So that is a fantastic walk to the Necrogon. Really, really nice. I believe this is where I have some battle mishaps. Most of my slight menuing mistakes are outside of battle, but I believe this one I couldn't make up my mind if I should run or fight. The problem with the mini demons is that they're quite dangerous and they're fairly susceptible to, or they're fairly resistant to sleep. So you have to weigh whether or not it's worth it to run. So it's two mini demons and, yeah, these guys. So it's like, on turn one, what I try to do is put the left guys to sleep, so neither of them went to sleep. They just cast Beat and Defeat on my party, which is terrifying, but it didn't work. So the right mini-demon is asleep, and luckily the Expel worked, which is not guaranteed. Then this guy proceeds to cast... This guy woke up, they're both casting spells. So it's just very dangerous. And I got the classic 9% fail to run 3 times, which is not what I wanted to see, but somehow I made it through that fight unscathed. Not unscathed, but like, nobody died. It's still just very, very scary. Those guys can be really nasty when you fail to run 3 times, and, I mean, those enemies cast Beat and Defeat on me, so that could have been way, way worse than it was. Anyways, we survived. That's just like really hazy. I misstepped there, half a step. Like what you're supposed to do in that situation. You can just say fuck it and try to run, like I do here, which works. Honestly, there's some times where it's too complicated to both try to think about what to do and execute what you optimally could do. That you just have to say, I'll accept the risk and run from this battle, which sucks, but sometimes that's what you gotta do. That's what I did. That Shinobi feat's a little variable, and it's hard to, you wouldn't really maximize it, but so this is the same fight I got into before. Basically just put them to sleep. I could fight this and beat it in 1 turn, now that I have the Thunder Sword on the hero. Hero can use Thunder Sword to do 50 damage, and the Mage Warrior can do 30 damage with Firebane spell, which will kill all of them. But at this point, I knew that I didn't need the EXP for everybody. You're getting in quite a bit of fights on this floor, but this is obviously harmless. Those guys do like 1 damage to you. But... Oh, what's up, Gohabahi? Cool, man. Alright, Silver Orb. So we're off to Japan. That was, I mean, that last floor of the Necrogon wasn't great, but the walk to the Necrogon was so good. So, honestly, pretty good segment so far. I mean, at this point, like, this run is looking good. It's looking like, if Baramos cooperates, we're certainly on sub-3 path. Alright, so Orochi 1 and 2, after I did a little bit of analyzing, I realized that this fight is really a little more risk-reward than I thought. Not so much this fight, but the second one. Like, your willingness to get into critical HP is really what can make a fast fight versus, like, an average fight. Not so much this one. I actually got super lucky in this fight, if I remember. Because you can put this guy to sleep with 30% success rate. And I believe I got it like every turn. Yeah, I mean, this world map is sort of based on the actual world map. Japan is a small island. It's definitely influenced by Japan. But no, its Japanese name is Jipangu. Yeah, this guy just keeps going to sleep. That was lightning fast. So that was a good fight. So right now I have to weigh whether or not it's worth it to use a prayer ring. I really don't want to use prayer rings because if they break, I'm in a real bad spot. But in that split second, I had to decide, and I said, basically, fuck it, I should use it. So here, all right. So I used one. I had enough or enough MP that I didn't have to use another one. You just have to be really careful. So that was good. I also gave the Orochi sword, or the Kusanagi sword, to the Mage Warrior, so she can start attacking. I believe this fight, yeah, my Mage Warrior dies in this fight, and it's really unfortunate when it happens. So turn 1, you do double Sukuruto increase. You can use Surround on this guy, but it's less likely to hit than the first one. So you use Sap on him, and then start by killing your hero, your warrior, your Mage Warrior. So this fight, his stats are better, and he is guaranteed to go 2 times every turn, and he does have this weak fire breath, which is awesome. But what happens in this fight is that there's one turn in which there's a bunch of people in critical, and I have to heal everybody but the Mage Warrior, and then he does the worst possible thing, which is double strong breath attack, and kills the Mage Warrior. Alright, so it's right here. So, right after this fight, or this turn, I have to heal the Sage at the beginning of the party. So he could have done any other set of actions, but because he did double strong breath attack, he killed off the Mage Warrior. And that just sucks. But that's a risk that I had to be willing to take. So I took that risk. So that's a weak breath attack. If he did that and strong breath attack, she would have lived. Even if he double physicaled the Mage Warrior, she would have lived. And it's a problem because that little bit of EXP, that like 1500 EXP that the Mage Warrior would get, is huge. It would really help her out because she would get like 2 levels, 3 levels on it, and the next boss is Baramos. And yeah, Baramos is kind of a bitch. Having high levels for him is nice, or the highest possible level for the speedrun, I guess. But we don't have that luxury now. So I have to go revive my Mage Warrior, which sucks. This is the last time somebody dies outside of the final fight, which is great. And now we take care of the dealer side quest. I think I misstepped here. You have to go... Yeah, I did misstep. I realized this. You need to go to the inn first. I get really pissed off when I make small mistakes like that. Luckily, there's not too many of that in this run. But you just really have to be on top of it. It's time you're never getting back. Anyways, so we deposit the warrior, get the maid or the merchant. I don't get into any fights on the way over, which is really nice. It's really it could kill your run, honestly. There's my first warp. I think I was just getting distraught here. I just messed up and warped to the wrong location. Like I said, it's not a huge time loss, but you really don't want to deal with it. So yeah, I mean, between not going to the inn right away and that, it's probably like 7 seconds or so. And it's just, you really gotta be on top of that stuff. Anyways. There's no difference. It doesn't take any longer or shorter for either one, so... Alright, I'm gonna go get some tea. I'll be right back. Yes, this is my PB. I guess I said that 2 hours ago, but yes, this is for anybody who's joining. This is my PB as of 2 days ago, which it's been a very long and strenuous effort to get this time under 3 hours. So I'm doing just sort of making a Twitch highlight of it, but also just sort of talking through it, how it's going. Honestly, this run is like, with the exception of a few execution mistakes, most of my menus are fairly clean. About what I would expect most J runners to look like. I have to use some extra seeds here. I had to put a sleep staff in the Sage's inventory. No, I'm sorry, from the Sage's inventory to the Mage Warrior's inventory. Then I have to put a sleep staff and a mist staff on the warrior, and that's all for the Baramos fight. It's a good question. I suggest you consult speedrun.com. Surely they know how to handle Dragon Quest matters. Yeah, but anyways, this run as a whole has been like, with the exception of that first part of that boss troll split, it's been good. I mean, it's not above average and it's not below average. The first Metal Grind was like a little bit below average, but then the Mage Warrior split was definitely above average. And everything else has just been like fairly clean. Having your Mage Warrior die on Orochi 2 is like, it's not the best, but I mean, you play that fight risky and you play to win. I beat the fight very quickly. It's just a character died, so it happens, you know. But having two party members die on the way to the Necrogond is, I'm sorry, on the way to Samanosa. Dude, I can't begin to describe how ridiculous it is to try to land Lamia. Ramia. Yeah, I probably won't be added to the leaderboards. They expect you. Well, the thing is, I do have Nico. Um, I could restream this to Nico and probably get on the leaderboards, which I actually might do. They want you to just stream it to Nico, but I don't believe there's any rules about it being a restream, though I don't know that for sure. I probably can get added. I know Karakarn's been added, so for his Final Fantasy stuff, so. But they won't accept Twitch highlight, basically. I probably will do that sometime. Just maybe in like a week or two. I've been doing a lot of DQ3 commentary between this run. This isn't really commentary, this is more just me covering what my sub 3 time looked like. But last week was definitely commentary. Hey man, Nico, with its 30-minute segment cutoff between VODs, encourages splicing. It's like every 30 minutes they're like, hey, if you're not on pace, just switch your video. Alright, Baramos time. So yeah, my PB here was 2:13:17. My PB is very unfortunate because I had a death at Baramos and I entered the Baramos fight about 4 minutes faster than where I am right now. Which is just like super fast. But unfortunately I died at that Baramos fight. Still, entering this fight around 2:08 is pretty nice. So let's get the play-by-play here. We used Iron Eyes first to bypass the Flame Breath right here. So, stop spell, sleep, sleep, sleep. Let's see. Sleep did not land. Did not land. So he gets an attack, Marizoma. Did not land. Sleep. Did not land. Stop spell, so that's a terrible first turn. Alright, so he's asleep and he's still asleep after his turn. So now I need to get stop spell. Stop spell on it. So he's stop spell and he's asleep, which is good. I need to use a prayer ring on the hero to get his MP back up. I need to try to Menusa him, which is surround. So he's awake now. He's back to sleep. So this is an excellent start, even though that first turn was shit. I use heal on the sage with the hero instead of sleeping, because he's already asleep. So now he's awake. Now he's awake. I need to try to put him back to sleep, so everybody's going to try to put him to sleep. Except the sage is going to cast speed up. Alright, so he is awake. However, so now he's asleep. The next thing that he's going to do is breath attack, so I need to be very careful here. I need to make sure everybody's at enough HP. So he's awake again. He could do flame breaths if he does not go to sleep here, which he just went to sleep right before he had a chance. So now he's asleep. My two party members are bi-killed. I use one safety Sukaruto, which is increase. Both party members are bi-killed. He's going to use... No, I'm going to defend with everybody here, because I knew that this attack was coming next. Defending with the first two characters basically puts them into HP range that even if he does Flame Breaths again, they won't die. You have to be very cognizant as to how much HP you have and whether or not you can tank hits to survive. So he's asleep again. That was very, very fortunate and lucky. I bi-kill my Mage Warrior, who can start attacking as well. That was a really unfortunate miss. So he's asleep again, or he's not asleep again. So I need to just pummel him with the first two characters, but then try to keep everybody alive and try to put him to sleep with the other two. So he went back to sleep, which is awesome. This has been a really nice Baramo so far. He's awake again. That's a miss. That's unfortunate. At this point, I really need to not see misses. Ooh, 49. Okay. That's a really bad miss. So that's 2 misses in a row with a warrior. Now I'm in sort of trouble. If he does a physical and hits somebody, they could die. So let's see what happens. I remember what happens. Look at this. Still alive, dude. So now I have to defend with the warrior, because breath attack could have attacked there. And now I have to go back because I don't have enough MP. I attack with the last 2 party members. He's definitely doing flame breath right now. So I had to defend with the warrior. The others 2 are just trying to attack through. At this point, I need to kill him. Down to 5 HP. And we get him. This is just... It's just absurd, like, how fast things happen. And how you just have to be on top of it. And look how risky that is. Like, all of my party members are under 50 HP. My Sage has 0 MP, the last party member. And then we somehow survived. It's just crazy, man. Honestly, he was going to sleep quite often in that fight, but those, like, 3 misses on the warrior is a difference of, like, 600 HP. And that prolonged the fight, like, 2 extra turns, which is so scary. And yeah, so all those level ups I did not get from Orochi 2, I basically get in this split instead. So yeah, we're, 212 is very doable for the end game. It's not safe, it's just, you can convert a 212 into a sub 3 time. So that's what you gotta do. This is one of the most fun and exhilarating Dark Worlds I've ever seen. I'm telling you, man, Zoma, I'm still right now sitting here surprised that I beat Zoma. But you'll see. Anyways, yeah, that was a good Baramos fight. Could have been a few turns faster. But honestly, he went to sleep and I beat him. And also, nobody died, which is excellent for EXP, and I did not use a World Leaf, which is really helpful, because, I mean, if you need to use a World Leaf, you use it because you want everybody alive, and you obviously want to win the fight. But if you do use a World Leaf, you have to go get another one, and that wastes about 40 seconds or so. Oh, thank you for believing, everybody. Zoma. Alright, so you go into the Mage Warrior's inventory first, you put the Sleep Staff on the Sage's first slot so that when she's in battle, she uses Sleep Staff right away when you select the item, and then you also put the Mist Staff on her. You redistribute back 1 Wizard Ring to her inventory in case she needs to use it during battle, which she will, and then we're off to the Dark World. If you do use a World Leaf during Baramos, you might think, oh, let's just go take care of it right now before we go back into the Dark World for the first time. However, because of using wings to warp around areas, what you should do is wait until you're at the point in which you're about to go into Zoma's castle, and if anybody has died, it's most efficient to use a World Leaf that you pick off the ground and use it to revive them and then pick up another one. Therefore, you should put off reviving any characters and getting the extra World Leaf if you already used one during Baramos. until the very last minute. You basically do all the dangerous parts of the Dark World, and if anybody dies, then you take advantage of the World Leaf situation. But, so that guy got in my way, which is cool. But that didn't happen, so we didn't have to worry about that. Dude, the Dark World. This is such a good part of the run. Alright, so Shinobi Feet runs out here, but we don't care because we're not in a overworld area. So there's an agility seed there, but I opt not to get it because I'm trying to save time to make sure I've got enough buffer. Because again, like 212 is doable, but there's a point at which you have to start cutting out some safety stuff. Alright, so there's a fairly high chance of getting into a fight on the way here. They're not dangerous, but they can be a little costly. But we didn't get one, so that's really good. There's also another chance you can get into a fight before getting into the stairs to reset the encounter rate. So we didn't get one. So that's like, that's pretty big. Even that little stretch there of not getting 2 fights, it's a very nice thing to see. And then no fight here. So then it's like max 1 fight. No, I'm sorry, not max. At least 1 fight. But usually 1 fight from here for the rest of this cave. I think it's like right here, yeah. So these guys are free. You attack with 2 party members and you use Expel with the other 2. Jigoku no Kashi. So yeah, that was a really fast fight too. So this Dark World is off to a blazing fast start. I tried talking with the chest, which did not work. You have to be very, very careful. Oh, I think I get into a bad encounter here. And by bad encounter, I mean a completely harmless encounter that wastes time. Look at this shit, dude. I mean, I'm still like okay because I got into basically no encounters on the way there. But still bad. Still slow. Then I got into one like 3 steps later, which is awful. But this is a fight that's like safe. Or did I say Kashi? Kishi? Gosh. All straight. So, because my party members split out their attacks, I switched to having the Mage Warrior use Snowstorm. The Sage always tries to put them to sleep to save turns, but Snowstorm was able to wipe out 2 of them, and then the 1 attack left killed the last enemy, so... 25 HP on the Warrior is really good. Again, that's sort of unfortunate about that first fight, but I don't get into a fight over here. So 2 fights in the whole way to Mercado is actually pretty good. So, that's not bad. We're still on very, very acceptable Dark World. Get the Orichalcon. Orichalcon. Then we're off to Cole, or Myra. Oh my god, do you see that menu? The menu got stuck in the overworld. What would you do if you got into a encounter with a menu? Run the hell away. So yeah, you really hope that you don't get into an encounter on the way to Myra, but again, these ocean encounters are, some of them can be slow, but none of them are particularly dangerous. The only real dangerous one is 3 times Kraken, and that's just because they can go 3 times and they have the chance of criticaling you. It's pretty insane that an enemy can get 3 attacks in 1 turn. Luckily, they're very susceptible to sleep, and if you get a increase off, then they're fairly harmless. Anyways, we didn't see any of that. This was very lucky. I believe I get into a fight before Myra. But this is mountainous area, you sort of expect it. So this is a fight. I mean, fighting that battle isn't particularly dangerous. The dudes on the right can be expelled, and the goopies. Oh, the goopies. If there's two of them, you need to put them to sleep and attack physically with two party members, which should kill them. If there's exactly one, you can cast Blazemore with your siege instead and guarantee kill it. Here we sell the gear that we just picked up in the cave in the Orichalcon. Sell the zombie killer because we don't need it on the siege anymore. And then you have to warp back to the town so that the dude that you sold the Orichalcon to can craft it into the King's Sword. Sage's staff on the sage. Water flying clothes on the sage. And another blade armor on the warrior. Mage warrior. Because I had to take a bunch of healing before, I take the inn here instead of use prayer rings. None of my prayer rings are broken so far. Unless you're at pretty much max HP, you should take the inn. I'm sorry, pretty much max MP, but I was not. So we're good here. Grab this. This sword is so powerful. So we get the King's Sword for the hero, but then we put the Thunder Sword on the Mage Warrior. So the hero can cast Arrow Cross or Infirmost with his sword. No encounter in there is awesome, by the way. So that's really, really good. So the hero can cast Infirmost for free, and the Mage Warrior can cast Boom, or what's its name? Iona? I think it's Iona. Boom, the second tier spell. So it's unfortunate to get a fight on the first floor. Luckily this guy, or these guys are harmless, basically. They can cast Marami, but as you can see, a Sage who has the magic shield and the water flying clothes takes 25 damage from an attack that usually does like 70, which is awesome. We get HP seeds here. I was a little worried about my warrior's HP seeds, so I definitely HP value, so I wanted to make sure I got the seeds. I've been collecting seeds all the run, but if I'm like really pressed for time, which I sort of am right now, but you can skip the seeds, but I wanted to make sure that my warrior got as many seeds as possible. I took this very safe. With good reason. I think you should. You lose like 30 seconds if you fall before getting the chest. The light armor that you get from that chest is a monstrously good piece of equipment for the hero. I got into the encounter 2 steps before I was basically safe from getting an encounter on that floor, which kind of sucks. Luckily, this fight is not dangerous at all. These guys do nothing but cast Bounce or Confuse. They don't actually hurt you, but you can't waste a little bit of time. I've gotten through this tower many times without getting a single encounter, so I've gotten 3 so far, or 2? 2 so far. I get 1 on the top floor. Alright, so you almost always get, not almost always, you more than likely you'll get into at least 1 fight. Not often you'll get into 2, but it's usually just 1 fight. So I got into 1 fight, it's the same thing. It can be Hagure or Liquid Metal Slime, which is awesome, but didn't happen. We give the light armor to the hero. Oh, thank you. I work hard in my places. We use the fairy flute. Alright, we are in the final stretch now, really. We just need to go get the rainbow drop and then we're off. Yeah, same thing here. I mean, these ocean counters are the same throughout the world, the Dark World. They're not particularly dangerous, but as few as them as I can get is great. And for the most part, you just say screw it and run from them. But there's a few that I have to basically be careful about. So this is a fight that's not dangerous at all. You could take some damage from it, but no one is at risk of dying. And generally, if that's the case, then you run from battles like this. Still, I'm sort of like keeping in the back of my mind that I do need to fight some fights, especially when I'm going to Zoma's castle on the overworld, because my main warrior's HP is like 200, and it really should be around like 250. Again, it has nothing to do with me or the way I play it, it's just the stat growth. And I just need to be like conscious that I have to get a few levels. And I know he is going to get a few levels before I get into the final boss, basically. But I just need to realize that there are some fights that I may want to fight instead of run. It really depends on the fight. So only one encounter on the way there is actually pretty cool. And then we come here. Rainbow drop. If I had a dubstep track, I would call it the rainbow drop. Alright, so this is the Kraken fight I was talking about. Basically what you do is you put them to sleep. They're fairly susceptible to sleep, but you also cast Increase. I got very lucky in that my warrior went before the middle one who was still awake. And I was able to cast Increase and put them to sleep, and then I ran away second try. So that was really good. Alright. Get ready. Just get ready. Just get ready. Oh. You have to kill the Goopy. This dude attacks my warrior and gets recoiled for 3 damage, and then I one-shot him. Single-handedly, the best battle I've ever seen in Dragon Quest III. That was just, like, it couldn't have come at a better time. And it just, like, it happened so fast, and it was just like, oh, shit. This run is on. So yeah, what I was saying before about worrying about whether or not I need to get EXP, like, we're good. We got the EXP we needed. This fight was a little scary because I missed and that dude did the critical animation attack. And I don't actually really need this experience, but you can get crit, so you usually want to fight this. But yeah, still, what I was talking about before is that my warrior's HP, he's still only 240 HP after that level up, and I'd really rather him be around like 260-ish. But he still has a few level ups to go. Alright, so that was a really far walk. This fight sucks. There's no way around it. Basically what you do is your sage, the very rare instance in which your sage can't really do much that's helpful is this fight. This enemy is susceptible, or not susceptible to sleep, and you don't have any ice spells on your sage yet, so you really just can't do anything. So the best thing you can do is cast speed up so you can end it quicker on turn 2, and then you can use her to heal somebody, which is what I do. And that fight actually turned out okay. Those guys are not 100% for getting hit by arrow cross, but they did all get hit. That was a really, really good island so far. Only 2 fights is crazy. This guy, he can cast Explode at. The stop spell has a 30% chance of working. Luckily, he uses Cold Breath attack, which is like 10 damage, which is nothing. So overall, this Dark World has been really, really good. That Metal Babble kill, like, I didn't need that, but that just, like, turned on the run. I was in the zone at this point. Like, I've been here enough that I wasn't significantly nervous, but, I mean, every chance you get to make a run happen is good. So this fight is scary. They can cast Defeat on you. Luckily, they both got stop spelled, which is good. And they love casting it, but luckily it doesn't work because they're stop spelled. Alright, so my Sage has 43 MP. I'm about to use a heal all with everybody. So I'm gonna have to use some prayer rings, or make sure she's got one in her inventory. So my Mage Warrior's HP is cranking. She's doing really good. Yeah, I had to check what my Warrior's max HP was, and it's about 250 right now. I'm starting to get worried about his HP, because when he's under 300 for the final fight, it's really, really scary. And basically, I expect him only to get one more level up, and I still have to get somewhat lucky for it to be a high level up. So it wasn't looking super great. Even though a lot of things were going right, I was very worried about my Warrior's HP. But, I mean, again, that's the whole reason that I've got the Life Force nuts that I've been picking up throughout the run. So there, you cast Toramana, which is Step Guard. These fights, it's pretty cookie cutter. These guys are fairly susceptible to sleep. They do regenerate HP every turn, and so like right here, I use that opportunity to use a prayer ring to recover MP within battle, as opposed to doing it outside of battle. So I got 2 uses there, which is great. This guy's still asleep. Now I can just try to kill him. Unfortunately, he had like 4 HP or something, but he did survive that last attack. These guys are nasty. I mean, like, they're very susceptible to sleep, but if they happen to be awake, they can definitely gang up on one party member and do some real damage. That recoil should kill. Yeah. That sucks. Alright. Turned out okay. Alright, those were decent fights. Nobody died. Sorry, Countdown. I blew it. A few pixels too early. So yeah, like, this is a very valid run. This could happen. I misstepped there, and I was sort of, like, really scared, to be honest. But I corrected it, because I took like a few frames to think about it. Those are the tiles that if you step on the wrong tile, you have to press a different direction than where you want to go where you want to go. Alright, so this is looking really good on this floor so far. This is an excellent fight. These guys are dangerous, but only one of them pretty much means one turn only. That was a good fight. They also give a lot of experience. I think there's one more fight here. No, wow. One fight on that floor is good. So we're cranking, man. This Dark World has been really good. Even that, like walking all the way to Ortega without a fight is great. So cutscenes in this game like this do not reset the encounter rate. Also including those 3 Guardian fights that I just did. Those do not reset the encounter rate. So you can get into a fight like a half step after getting into the fight with a Guardian. And at first you're just like, what the hell? I was just in a fight. But they're random fights and scripted fights, or scripted cutscenes like this are not related. Alright, sorry Ortega. So, whenever I play most of my speed games, I turn off splits, I turn off timer, I don't watch it. But, unfortunately for this game, I did have to. Basically, you need to know sort of what time you're entering the altar in. I forgot the split for Zoma's Castle. Because you need to sort of know what is it going to take to get the time that you want. Nice Kaishin. Nice miss. So, yeah, I had to open my menu and see what my time was. I'm sorry, open my monitor and see what time it was. Because I need to know whether or not, to get the sub 3, I need to play Zoma like a monster, or I can play it normally, or I can play it safe. Honestly, there's not a big difference between playing it safe and playing it normally, but there is a big difference between... Alright, so this was really dangerous. I used Expel on the first 2, but neither of them landed, so I was really panicked. I was really hoping that this mage was not going to cast Yonazun, explode it, but he did. So now I'm sort of in a pickle. Luckily he does go down turn 1, because he's not guaranteed to. So I decided to defend with 2 of my characters and use Expel with the other 2, so everybody survived. I got a level up here with the warrior, but it's only 10 HP. I was hoping for like 20, because his HP's been somewhat low. So again, I'm sitting here at 270 HP, when I'd really like to be around 300. I do have some Life Force nuts, but anyways. Still a little worried about his HP. So here, we got the Sage Stone, we got another Prayer Ring, we got the second World Leaf. So I've got full leaves, I've got everybody's alive. It's looking as viable as any. And we get this fight, which is basically a free fight. We're able to use Expel with 2 characters. Expel is 75% chance on these guys. And that's the last random encounter. And we're in. So if you're in around 240 or so, you've got 13 minutes to get through this whole segment. So I need to use prayer rings, so my first prayer ring breaks, so I give the prayer ring back to the hero. You have to be very, 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 very careful, because if you use a wizard ring, I'm sorry, if you try to use a wizard ring and you end up accidentally using the world leaf on a live party member, it wastes a leaf. So you really need to not miss menu. I did it once before, and I haven't done it since. Once before was like 6 months ago, but it's still horrible. Anyways, you have to be fairly confident in what you have menued, because you really need your Sage to have the Sage Stone for this first fight. So the way this first fight works is you use Increase, you cast Sleep on him twice, and you cast Sap on him. I don't think Sap landed first turn. But he did go to sleep, which is awesome. So we attack. I heal everybody. He's still asleep, so we're pretty much in there for this fight. Sleep is, or sap is still not landed, so I have to use it again. Third try is a charm. This guy has 1600 HP. If he double physicals one of my last two party members, they could die, but pretty much anything else he does is free. Alright, that was a good fight. Level 24 on the hero is super friggin' high. 21 on the sage. So, Bomus is the last real barrier before Zoma. I have to swap my Sage's Stone for the Sage's Staff, so that the warrior from here on out is going to do nothing but Sage's Stone. I'm sorry, just for Bomus and Zoma. Yes, PRS lives in my closet. Alright, buy kill the hero, warrior, cat, or use a Sage's Stone. We got sap first try, which is great. This guy's got 1100 HP, but he is dangerous as fuck. This dude starts this battle with Flame Breath and 2 Explodette. The absolute worst thing he could possibly do. So I turtle with the Mage Warrior, and I'm just crossing my fingers at this point. He gets 1 attack, so that's really good. So we're back in there. Gotta keep the warrior's HP high. He's definitely in danger, or she's definitely in danger, but she survived this. Gotta be careful. Defend, you gotta heal the mage warrior. Should be 1 more turn. I believe he gets us down. Or no, we're good. He snuck in an attack, unfortunately. Hey, thank you, Shadow Killer. 93 damage to kill it. Alright, so Bomus is down. 2 left. Heal up. I'm doing okay on MP. Got 2 prayer rings left. So you cast increase with your first, defend with the 2 and 3, increase with 4. This dude, if he double physicals your first party member, they could die. He does a lot of damage, but that didn't happen. And now we're set up. 100% no, you would need Sage's Stone to be able to do this. This would not be viable whatsoever. It's single-handedly the most important item. So from here, we just start by killing our party and swapping from having our warrior use the Sage's Stone to having the sage use the Sage's Staff. Because with 6 increases down, you take significantly less damage. I still need to mitigate my HP, and if overall it gets pretty low, I can use the Sage's Stone to beef everybody back up, which I believe I do that pretty soon. Yeah, I think right now I do. Nope, not this turn. Maybe next. So yeah, you do about 500 damage a turn, and he's got 3000 HP once you're all set up, so it doesn't take too long. Yeah, exactly, right there. That should do it. This turn, maybe next. There it is. Alright, get ready. This is the most intense Zoma fight I've seen to date. So I got 15 HP on the warrior there, which is awesome. I was not expecting that to level up. I used the HP seeds in the warrior. Then you heal your party, and then you use your MP rings, and then I basically do one last check. I gotta switch my swords and my warriors. I want my mage warrior, who may do physical attack if things go sour, which they do, and it's because it's the it's the strongest weapon she has. I need to use MP healing on everybody. I checked my inventory there to make sure that my Sage has the light orb, because she desperately needs it for this fight. And then we go into the fight. I have 7 minutes to make this PB happen. He always does his first thing, or his first turn is always the same. It's breath attack into snowstorm. Unless you happen to get the light orb off first turn, then you skip a turn in his pattern. This is the sound. That sound, man. That's when it triggers that it's on. Alright, so physical on the warrior, hoping not for another physical on the warrior. So warrior needs to get healed, so that's what Sage is going to do. Basically the way it works is that your fourth party member is going to pivot and either heal or use increase or sap. We're just hoping for physicals on the person who's defending. Okay, so again, warrior, having warrior at max HP is pretty much #1 priority. And it's not guaranteed Sage is going to go first. Alright, so hero took some damage. Was able to heal. Good turn. Very good turn. I want to see Snowstorm every turn if I could. So I was in good HP. I used Rukani, Sap, but he... So in this game, when he uses Freezing Waves, it gets rid of his debuffs too, which is the cheapest shit I've ever heard of in a Dragon Quest game. But that's the way it is. Okay, so we're at really good HP right now. It's looking good. This is about where things go sour, I believe. So I'm playing slightly aggressively, getting his defense down. So Sage goes down. It's as simple as that. She was at max HP. She gets hit by a physical. I get a Kaishin off, which is good. Now I need to revive the Sage. But yeah, it's as simple as that. She gets hit by one physical and a breath move, and she's dead. So 1 leaf down. I use increase to beef up my defense before taking this physical. Really didn't want to get double physicaled on that character, so I survived that. Defend, gotta heal the warrior. He goes first, but that's okay because Snowstorm is really good. So I outsped him with my warrior. This is the #1 most dangerous thing that can happen, because now he's going to get basically 4 attacks in a row. This is really bad. He didn't do a ton of damage because he did Freezing Waves, and then he did Freezing Waves again, so that was fortunate. But if your warrior outspeeds Zoma, it's really, really bad. So I scathed through that one, or I made it through that one unscathed. And it happened again. So at this point I'm like, fuck. This is really bad, because now I'm in dangerous HP. As you can see, my hero had 25 HP. Alright, so physical and Mage Warrior is really good. Still, I'm at dangerous HP along the board, or across the board. I have to defend with everybody. Luckily, he did Freezing Wave there, which is good. I defended with most of my characters. My warrior desperately needs to get healed right now, but I also need to start actually doing damage to him. So I gotta buy kill the hero again. Sage went first, which is good. Double Breath is... it's very hard to keep up with the damage output from Double Breath. You can just look at my HP right now. Even after healing, it's not that great. I gotta defend with a lot of people. And he just keeps on breathing. We get a physical right to the Sage. So she dies. I've got 1 more leaf. And he goes first. Which I expect, but it's still scary. Oh. Okay, so she's alive. I have no more leaves. Use Sukuruto. That double physical on the warrior. It's a miracle that he is alive, but that's why I use the increase spells, because that could happen. Alright, So he's gonna catch up a little bit on HP, but I still need to heal the warrior after this. I actually need to start doing damage. I gotta use buy kill on the hero. And she's down. And at this point, I'm like, no, no. He hits hero. Hero is in danger. Gotta defend with hero to get some back HP back. That's a big attack. We're just hanging on for dear life. I got a physical with my first party member. He takes a hit, or she takes a hit for a lot of damage. Nice Kaishin. Needed that Kaishin. So he's doing freezing waves, which is nice. 181 damage without increase. This is really not good. Oh. And that was it. That was so close to just being 100% dead. I had like a heart attack, dude. I have to say though, I turned off my splits when I was doing that fight, so I wouldn't be tempted to look at it. But when I turned on my monitor and saw that the time was good enough for sub 3, it's a pretty good feeling. Not gonna lie. You know that cutscene after you beat Baramos when it's just like this wave of light comes in? It sounds lame as hell, but I had that rush through my body. It's just like, yes. The struggle is over. But yeah, that Zoma fight, I in my heart I believe that I did not deal nearly enough damage. But I got that nice Kaishin, a nice critical, and I was able to pull off buy kill one last time. So good, dude. I'm still shocked at that Zoma fight. I mean, he was playing pretty nasty. Hitting the Sage with 3 physicals during that fight is ridiculous, but it happens. Yes, I did miss that treasure chest. Alright, so we're in the credits. So when I started this, I took a look at the run, I took a run of the leaderboards, and I said, okay, you know, there's like 90 or so people that have time under 3 hours. Many of them have been playing the game for a long time. There's just a lot of people who played it. But I said to myself, like, okay, there's a route, there's like a community around this. This can't be super difficult. Like, getting the world record, I'm sure, is insane. But like, you know, getting a respectable time under 3 hours, I would have expected it to take, like, you know, gotta learn the route, gotta learn how to do the run. May have to do a bunch of resets. But it's a very achievable goal. It was so much harder than I thought. So much harder. So around this time last year is when I did my grind for Rockman and Forte. Or actually, just pretty much like exactly this time last year, I was grinding out an action platformer. That was a totally different experience, but this is by far the hardest thing I've done related to speedrunning. Just the fortitude of trying to turn on your console, get a run going. It took so much like effort. But yeah, I mean, I'm really glad I played this game and learned how to do it. I set a goal for myself and I just like, honestly near the end I was sort of ruthless and just wanted to get it done with. And I'm really, really happy I did. But at the same point, it's like I wish people sort of respected not just the speedrun itself, but sort of like the speedrun process that goes behind over. So there's 182 people on the leaderboards right now with times under 4 hours. After having gone through this process of seeing what it takes to get a sub 3 time in this game, I have such an appreciation for what goes into an optimized speedrun. Not optimized speedrun, more like optimized route with a random game. And in a very humble way and in a very like encouraging way, I think a lot of RPG speedruns out there have a lot of work to do. And not in a way that's saying like any other game is not nearly as good. That's totally not what I'm saying. It's just I think when you take a game with a competitive landscape that's got over 180 people have been playing and contributing and talking about and thinking and researching and analyzing what the best route is, just so many other games pale in comparison. And it's sort of this humbling experience to see what it takes to get officially 93rd on this leaderboards. 93rd place, that's where I am, 93rd place. And it took me 9 months of just like studying and analyzing and just playing the game over and over. It's a very humbling, crazy experience. And I hope to see other games sort of get this, research behind it, people talking about it. I think it's a great thing. I've seen some games happen to it. I've seen it happen to some games that, a lot of people start talking about it and thinking about it and routing it and actually looking into what's going to make the fastest time, which is great. I hope that continues. But I think my journey has been to spread the word about how this game isn't just some Japanese meme. It's the speedrun, dude. It's the RPG Japanese speedrun. And there's a reason why it's so well revered and popular, because it's quite amazing. So I'm just really, really glad that I finally met my goal. I'm not gonna lie, it was rough at some points. There were some times when I wanted to chuck my console across the states. But we did it. We did it. You and me. We did it. I'm off by 0.3 of a second, but yes. That's it. So yeah, in closing, I mean, I'm not exactly done. I can't say that I'm not playing this game again, but I'm taking quite a break, and it's... I wouldn't say a ton of time off, but I gotta focus on SGDQ. Be INEB, glorious leader of the collective, and streamers, Mega Man 02. But I'll be back. I mean, it'll be so much easier to play this game after hitting this goal, and that's what I'm most excited about. There's some other sort of more risky route changes that I may do, but it's absolutely not a priority right now. And who knows? I mean, I may not come back for a while or ever, but I feel like I set out to do what I wanted to do, and that's it. So, anyways, thanks for watching and checking out the restream. I wanted to get a Twitch highlight of this, and I am personally very proud of this. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you around.